Hello and welcome back to It's Okay with Jay, guys. How are you all doing? Been a few days, had a nice bit of a break, usual online classes, trying to get everything in order, and I'm back with you guys. So today's episode, guys, I want to talk about UFC 255. Now this card was awesome, guys. So again, I was probably up till about 8 o'clock this morning, 7 o'clock, so I got a few hours sleep, but I kind of caught pretty much most of the card, and I just want to discuss it with you guys today and see what you guys thought, and just give you my kind of overview and my opinions. So we're going to start off with, guys, to think there was two belts on this card, and both flyweight division, where this was a division not that long ago in the UFC that they were looking to scrap because there was just no one there. Sorry, they were looking to kind of get rid of that division, either move down or up another weight group. So to see where it's moved on from, and obviously Shevchenko's been for me a great champion in the flyweight division and has gone through every single one they've thrown at her, including Joanna Jacek, who that last fight, that battle was absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to start with I managed to catch it from the prelims, but I managed to catch only from the Antonina Shevchenko's fight against Ariana Lipski. Now again, I managed to start couple minutes into the first round, and again just Shevchenko's sister. So again, another reason why this card was so great was both sisters were fighting on this card, and obviously Antonina Shevchenko kind of tends to get slightly less recognition, obviously, because Valentina is the flyweight champion. So it was great for her to showcase what she brings to the table and how she's similar and different to her sister. And you got to remember that they come from a fighting family, from their dad, and been fighting since she was 5 years old. She's been learning martial arts. That's Valentina. So, you can imagine the same goes for her sister. So, yeah, again, she won via second round TKO, and again demonstrated how strong she is, not just on the floor, but also on the ground, standing up. So it was a great win for her. I'm not going to talk too much in detail because again, we're going to talk a few of them, skip through, and a few of them we're going to talk in nice bit of detail. So from that fight, the next one in line was the Joaquin Buckley against Jordan Wright. Now this Joaquin Buckley, for those of you who might not be familiar with the name, but you will be familiar, in the last couple of months he's been an absolute YouTube highlight. He's been raking in the likes and raking in the comments. This finish was one of possibly the best knockouts of the year, against Kasanganay in his last fight, where he went to throw a front kick and the guy caught his leg, and he ended up doing some form of spinning back kick, jumping, spinning back kick, and caught Kasanganay straight in the jaw, straight out cold. For me, yeah, definitely one of the knockouts of the year. So all that hype coming on Joaquin Buckley's shoulders, because again, to get a highlight, possibly the knockout of the year, and then going straight into a fight not that long after, for me was awesome. And guys, you have to check it out, because again, he won in the second round via an array of punches, and this guy has power. To be fair, from the body language of Jordan Wright, he's got that taekwondo kicks, because straight away he started off with the kicks, which same for Buckley, that karate taekwondo-esque, very light on your front leg and predominantly using that front leg. And guys, again, I'm not going to spoil too much of it, but definitely a great fight to watch. I'm not going to say fight of the night, because again, I still feel that Buckley needs a challenge now going forwards with someone who's slightly more higher ranked. And no disrespect to Jordan Wright, but you could see he wasn't comfortable in there, and from the moment he got tagged, he went to his corner, come back in for the second round, and it was almost, and again, I'm no one to discredit anything, because to get in that ring and fight, you've got to have a heart of steel. I've had a few tournament fights. I've unfortunately, never got to the place where I got to fight in a cage or anything as such. So anyone to do that, absolute, you've got balls of steel, and you've got my full respect. But you could see he didn't really want to be in there, you know, after feeling Buckley's power and the pressure. Yeah, so great win for Joaquin Buckley there for me. Absolute up-and-coming contender, someone to keep an eye out for. You know, someone similar again like a Kevin Holland, you know, where since this whole COVID predicament has happened, there's been a lot of these young guns and the new future of MMA kind of saying, do you know what, if Dana White calls, I'll fight. And these guys have been fighting, not for great money, not for too much money, not for too little money, but, you know, these guys have been consistent. Some of these guys have fought like 2 or 3 fights in such a short six month period. So much credit goes to those guys. Moving on, next fight, Brendan Moreno versus Brandon Royval. Now again, Brandon Moreno, for me, I've known this kid, watching him from the Ultimate Fighter show, where I see him, a young gun, always smiling Mexican kid, got that smile on his face, happy, a joker, but got that Mexican pit bull fighter in him, that fight. Now, this guy won via first round, but again, some people might say, yeah, it was to do with an arm injury, but the pressure and the skill set that Moreno's got, so not just his grappling and his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu, but the guy can strike. I mean, in the end, it was a TKO, because I would say that he was on top of the guy and he was punching. He was, you know, the guy could not stop him, but as you saw towards the end of the fight, that he had actually popped his shoulder out during that fight. So not only was he having to deal with that, he was also having to deal with the immense pressure of Moreno being on top of him, ground and pound. So massive credit to Brendan Moreno. Possibly a contender going forwards for the flyweights, because again, he's on a really good winning streak. And yeah, I mean, this kid can fight. And again, it just shows you the future of MMA. Whereas, you know, before I've talked on other shows where you tend to get the old school who had this specific skill set, you know, so they come in as BJJ practitioners, and then at some point they start developing and learning further martial arts. This was the old school warriors that you tend to have, you know, like who had their base. Whereas these new school, new blood of MMA, from day one, they kind of have that mixed skill set, which makes it very difficult, because they've all-round game is at 100% rather than sort of 70% at kickboxing, 50%, 30% at this, and so. So it shows you that there is so much talent coming up in that pool. So, you know, Brendan Moreno is someone to watch out for, guys. Definitely someone I keep a close eye on. So I'll always commentate or watch or give feedback on some of these fights. So yeah, guys, definitely check him out. Next card for me was a bit of a downer. Not in a sense of taking anything away from the fighters, because listen, Paul Craig, Scottish guy, again, you got to represent, and I had him in this fight to win, but again, he was fighting Mauricio Shogun Hua. This guy, Shogun, a legend. When I was a lot younger, and the first time I saw who Shogun Hua was in Pride, and this guy was an absolute beast. And for me, you know, over the years, seeing him take a few defeats, I mean, the one against John Jones, his first title defense, lost the belt to Jones, and from there on, and obviously, you know, we all get older. I mean, I'm there myself, so I'm not going to say, and again, it's not taking anything away from anyone. However, it's a shame to see, and you know, again, I felt the same way with Anderson Silva, Uriah Hall card, to see last fights, them get absolutely destroyed, you know, and I won't forget, because I remember what he's done for the sport and done for the game and done for his country, Brazil, and put it on the map, as well as some of the other, you know, UFC and MMA fighters. But, you know, again, Hall of Famer. You can't deny that. He's an absolute Hall of Famer. And unfortunately, you know, was defeated. And, you know, just again, TKO just didn't look himself at the end of it. You know, Paul Craig went over to him to show his full respect, and you could just feel and see the language of Shogun that potentially this could be it, and this could be the last time we see him fighting. I don't know. I hope so, for the sake of safety and realizing when is the best time to stop. Because again, you know, you don't want to keep going out on defeats, and you know, everything that you've done. People always in life, you could do 1,000 good things, and you do one bad thing that everyone sees. That's the one bad thing that gets highlighted, and unfortunately, this is what's happening to some of these guys. Again, taking nothing away from Craig, you know, big strikes. He was very confident, Craig, to take him straight down before there was any sweat. Great BJJ from Paul Craig, and great striking. So, you know, hats off to Paul Craig for that. I'm not going to take anything away from that victory. However, I do feel, you know, I love you, Shogun Rua, but, you know, for your sake of your family, your friends, perhaps you look at still competing in BJJ, or like some of the other guys have done another organisation. But again, who am I to say? I don't know how hard the pressures, what he's had to be through physically. I know what my body's feeling like, and all I do is teach and instruct. So let alone fight. I'm not fighting. So just again, it's just to show the respect where it's due. And I just think, you know, you're a Hall of Famer. You've done so much. You'll always be remembered. Great highlight reel. Let's not remember you with the opposite end of a highlight reel. So, you know, best of luck to you, Shogun. Thank you for everything you've done for the sport, and an awesome victory, Paul Craig. You done that quick. You wanted to prove a point. You went in there and you proved a point. So hats off to you, guys. The next fight, Caitlin Chookagian versus Cynthia Calvillo. Now, Calvillo is another one that's been kind of, you know, stirring up, making a lot of noise, moving weight class. Really good fighter, don't get me wrong, really good fighter. So this was a good test. To be honest, I was probably going to go for Calvillo because of that pressure fighter. You know, there was a reach disadvantage, but again, from analysing and myself being a smaller person for my age and my weight and my you know, height, is my style of fighting is pressure. So when I am sparring or fighting with someone, is to go in relentlessly and strike as much as I can and get out. Now, unfortunately, predominantly the people I'm sparring or fighting are bigger and have a better reach advantage. So for me, it's almost like, right, I've got to take some shots to give some shots, obviously minimizing the damage that I'm taking. So I saw a similar sort of style and aggression, and the way she fights. Again, you know, the Mexican heritage and blood, these guys, they've got that in their DNA. And especially when it comes to boxing, so many great boxing legends in the past, two now. So yeah, I kind of had her going through this, but unfortunately, Chookagian, well, I'm not going to say unfortunately, because great win for her. You know, she's not exactly had an easy ride, and she's had to go through a couple of recent losses, and I just felt she used that reach. My God, when you have it, guys, you have to use it, and she kept Calvillo at a reach. She frustrated Calvillo. She was tagging her. My God, even the hish, every strike loud, and you know, she was very confident throughout. And she really demonstrated her skill set and utilized, like I said, utilized that reach. So great win for Caitlin Chookagian. An unfortunate loss for Calvillo, but again, you're young, you learn, you'll bounce back. You got heart, you got real big heart when it comes to being in that cage, and I've seen it throughout your UFC career and prior to that. So hats out for you. Awesome fight for both ladies, but for me, possibly, and it might sound silly, but a fight that I find might have been fight of the night for me was Tim Means and Mike Perry. And the only reason is no matter how much stick Mike Perry gets and how much of an idiot this guy can be on social media and just ruthless and whatever's happened in his past in media and social media and whatnot with his ex-partner, whatnot, this guy, when he gets in the cage, he fights. He fights like a beast. You can't discredit this guy's cojones. You even saw that from the few fights before that, when he broke his nose in. Guys, if you haven't seen this, just YouTube Mike Perry broken nose and see it. I mean, my nose is still mash up and misshapen, but his nose looked like zigzag. It was, and you know, again, even in yesterday's last night's fight, I was watching Tim Means, again, a guy who used that long reach and that long jab. He demonstrated perfectly how to destroy someone's game plan with a perfect jab. And I mean, there was times where even Means was on the back foot and pat, 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 3 jabs, as is 1, 2, constantly utilising that jab. Towards the end of it, you could see he started cutting up and marking up Perry's face. I mean, to one point I was looking at Perry's nose and thinking, please no, because I know what it feels like, guys, to have that broken nose and for it to be hit again. And it shows you guys, and this is something my boxing coach has always told me, and anyone that I've done any Muay Thai or boxing, to have that great jab, it's the first thing that can get to your opponent, guys. You know, obviously, and something my kickboxing coach has always told me, you know, utilize that jab, get that hand out, reach it out, because if you can touch that person, you can kick that person. And he just showed it. Absolute masterclass from Means. I mean, at one point I was thinking it could be a draw, but I think Means did enough. The significant strikes speaks for itself. I mean, volume, a lot more. And just again, heart of Perry right at the end. 3rd round, battered, beaten up. You've been outboxed, and you're still going for it. Swinging, throwing Hail Marys, throwing punches all the way from Lewisham. So, yeah, that was an awesome fight. I really, really, really hands down enjoyed watching the Tim Means and Mike Perry fight. And then, guys, moving on. Sorry, I have my notepad, got to, but moving on to my queen. Now, for me, I call her my queen, Valentina Shevchenko, co-main event. The reason I call her my queen is my favourite fighter. Absolute. I mean, everyone talks about McGregor, everyone talks about Khabib, everyone talks about Gaethje, Ferguson, Nunes, etc., etc. Don't get me wrong, I respect and have love for all of those guys and their skill sets and what they've done. They're all absolute legends, best of the best. Personally, for me, Valentina Shevchenko, best UFC athlete out, or MMA athlete out there at the moment. Her mentality, her record. I mean, she's got that Muay Thai background, which I love the Muay Thai sport. So Muay Thai martial art, for me, something I'm learning. Been learning it for a few years. Nowhere near where I want to be, but complete different to my freestyle kickboxing background that I have and just boxing. So, I mean, she has a record over 56 Muay Thai and K1 fights prior to UFC and MMA. And this woman, not just from her dedication, I mean, she's been learning martial arts since she was 5. She has come from a martial art family where her dad, from a young age, coaching, teaching, her sister, herself, absolute, for me, a role model and a true representative from Kyrgyzstan. She's always proud of where she's from, comes out with her flag, does the dance, humble. But yeah, forget the reasons why I like her. Let's talk more about the fight. So for the flyweight title, 5-rounder, and it went the distance, which I was quite surprised. But again, you know, having not known too much about Maya, I mean, I've watched a few of her fights, know a bit about her reputation, but again, not known too much apart from her last fight with Molly. So yeah, I was a little bit worried because she's a bit bigger, and I don't mean that in a disrespect, but you can see she was a lot bigger than some of the girls size-wise. Carried a bit more of a power threat, and obviously she's got the BJJ background. So for me, it was a bit... I did think it would... Obviously, Shevchenko is going to win for me all day, every day, hands down. That's due to loyalty as well as her skill set and my confidence in her, and her confidence in her. And yeah, I mean, 5-round fight. I think the second round was probably the round where I would say Maya had. But the way she pieced it all together, I mean, every part from... And again, she's another one of those fighters, if someone says, oh yeah, she's always striking, yeah, she's great at kickboxing, Muay Thai, but on the floor. So she will go and prove a point and get you down on the floor. If you criticise her striking, she will make sure she makes a point to stand up. And in the same sense almost, and I give credit where it's due, as much as I don't like the personality, like John Jones. Every opponent, or pretty much most of the opponents that he's beat them in their own way. Similar to Amanda Nunes. I mean, that head kick knockout, Holly Holm. So again, Holly Holm was known for that head kick knockout Ronda Rousey. So it's that, and that's what I absolutely love about this woman. And if you get a chance, guys, and check out some of her previous Muay Thai fights, some of her previous UFC fights, I mean, I speak about her to my students. I'll always recommend, and that spinning back kick. I mean, she threw that a couple of times yesterday. She got a good, very, 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 very good spinning back kick. If anything, one of the best in the game. And I'm talking from a standstill position, just that chamber, that spin and that strike in and out. I saw her throw Joanna across the floor. We've seen her throw so many female fighters across the floor with that kick. So I got to see it a few times last night, which I absolutely loved. And for me, guys, really good 5-round fight. Not a boring fight, full of action. She took some big hits. I mean, even the last sort of 30 seconds, there was that point where she threw that spinning back fist, and she caught Maya with that spinning back fist, but Maya caught her boop with that right straight on the nose, but she followed on. So not only was that back, she followed on with her own strike and caught her. And that's one thing I love, the combination work. For me, something I try and work on with a lot of my students is, and how I have to fight because of my height and my size. When you go in, there's no point going in and just that one and going back out, especially if you've got a range disadvantage. The most important thing for you to do is get in there, get that combination going, whatever that works, nice and quick, get it done, get back out, change position, pivot, move, you know, keep it moving. Everything she did last night was absolute perfect for me. And again, every time they put someone up against her, I mean, I remember when Jessica I was about to fight Shevchenko, and Jessica I was doing all this publicity, and when she was up on stage, she started this, "Let's go, Jessica, let's go," and sing, and she thought she was going to, and this is the thing, every single person genuinely feels that they're going to beat Valentina Shevchenko before they step into that octagon. And it's only when they step in and you see that look on their face. It's just the same. I mean, you should have seen what she did to Caitlin Chukagian. Cut her open, the elbows, the ground and pound. So I don't think she has a weakness in her arsenal, and that's why for me she's just one of my favourite all-time current fighters. And I recommend, guys, if you didn't watch UFC 255, you've got to stream it up. It's on BT Sport. I'm sure YouTube have probably got a couple of, you know, highlights or things as such, but the best thing about BT Sports, if you don't watch it live, the next day they will rerun it in the evening. So this time, probably about 10 p.m. tonight, you should be able to watch the whole card if it's not up there already, because again, I know they've got that up. So moving on to the main, no, I've got to give out one more shout out again. This is why, for me, I love Valentina Shevchenko. When she was having her interview with Joe Rogan, you know, the last thing she had to do, again, she always thanks her family, she always talks about her team, but to shed light on other people when she's in the light is just truly amazing. You've just retained your title. You've just done something amazing. you've just taken down another person who was meant to be the next one to take you off your stool, and all you can do is stand there and talk about your sister and how you think she should win fight of the night, or a bonus, or how you have to talk about your mother, who's recently won a Muay Thai shadow boxing world champion. You know, again, and it just shows you how much family means to this individual, and the humility. You know, when there's light on you, you're trying to give it to other people who you feel deserve it, who genuinely do deserve it, because without them, she wouldn't be who she is. So, I love you, Valentina. You my queen. And moving on, the main event, guys. Davison Figueiredo versus Alex Perez. Perez coming up with a bit of a hype. Awesome record. Finishing guys, putting them to sleep. Got power behind him quick. You know that with the flyweights, guys. These guys are so nippy. They got so much. Some of them got so much power. And sometimes you blink and it's done. So, it was a really good fight. First round, over nice and quick. But again, something Figueiredo's making a habit of. I mean, since he first won the belt, there was a bit of a sour taste because, you know, just wasn't... He's always had issues making weight. He beat Benavidez. He had the belt. Didn't want to give him a rematch. Tried to put every sort of excuse under the book. Finally had to rematch Benavidez. Went out there like a true professional. Beat the guy. Since doing that, it's almost like his stock has changed. He's gone from the guy, can he keep weight? What is he doing? The flyweight on his shoulders kind of thing. And all of a sudden, there's that hype. The power. Okay, yeah, he's got issues getting to weight, but he's a big guy for that weight group. So yeah, he might have to in the future look at either going up. But the speed and the power that this guy carries is frightening, guys. For his weight and his division is absolutely frightening. You've seen now Joseph Benavidez is not an easy feat. He is a warrior. Never did hold the title, and you do feel that for him. Again, another one of those kind of similar to Mike Perry for me. Got heart, got an absolute heart. You will fight and you will bang till the end. And for that, you know, you've got to give him all his dues. But yeah, it's just, it was an interesting one. It was a guillotine submission. Figueiredo first round, so didn't waste much time. Realised, you know what, the stand-ups, and this is again shows intelligence. The stand-up is a bit worrying. I'm going to take this guy down. Let's do what we need to do. Let's end it. And quick time. And this again, it shows you that, you know, how quick you can change what the UFC thinks of you, or Dana White thinks of you, or the fans think of you, with just one victory, guys. You know, one really, really good victory. So, I think after the Figueiredo fight with Benavidez, he went away, he thought back, look, I've got to come back, do this, reinvented himself, and came back as an absolute tank. If you see him, he's absolutely shredded. Yeah, there isn't one aspect, I think, where you could say he's got a weakness. So the 1-2-5 on both man and female categories are looking absolutely strong. For me now, I'm thinking who's potentially next for Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, the good thing is, at least for the flyweights from tonight's card, is potentially Dana White came out in the post-fight interview to say that they're pretty much thinking about keeping Davison Figueiredo there, and actually in the next few weeks putting him on the same card, in the December card, the last card of the year, against Brandon Moreno, who fought on the night. So already there's a title contender straight ready. Let's go. I don't know who I can say is the next title contender for Valentina Shevchenko. Personally, I want to see her go and avenge that loss to Nunes, because again, I think, you know, obviously Nunes is a GOAT without any disrespect or disrespect to her. Absolute GOAT. What she's done, the weight groups, 2 times champ, you can't take anything away from her. But Shevchenko's developed, and is a complete different fighter to what she was from the first time round. So I would at some point like to see Shevchenko go up and challenge Nunes. I do think my queen can win that. So all in all, guys, UFC 255. Again, I didn't do too much detail. It's only kind of half an hour. I did say some of the fights I'm going to go through quickly. Some of the people I'm going to talk about in detail. And again, you got to be short and sweet sometimes, because the longer you go on, it seems like you guys don't want to listen. I'm just joking. Yeah, nice, short and sweet. Also, guys, in the t-shirts. Sorry, got to show you. Jay's personal training. So holler at Jay if you guys need anything done. DM me, guys, because I can set up plans for you. I can do one-to-ones online, things as such. Holler at me. And also, I've got the It's Okay with Jay t-shirts coming soon. So this is my logo for my kickboxing, the Jay's personal training. And the It's Okay is slightly different, as you guys have seen. Me and my same guy, me and my boy Marcus, another boxing coach that I tend to train with. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. So that's going to be out next. And if any of you guys want a shirt, let me know. I've got them available for you guys, okay? So all from me, It's Okay with Jay. Thank you for all your time this Sunday. Have a lovely weekend, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.